invite the panelists to quickly introduce themselves to us today. Without any particular order, I'll ask our presenters, our speakers to introduce themselves. Welcome.
Thank you, Juliet. Welcome to our session. My name is Tshepho Mosweu. I'm a lecturer at the University of Botswana in Archival Studies, the Department of Library and Information Studies. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Thatayaone Segaetsho. You can just call me Dr. Titi. I know my name is very long. I'm a lecturer at the University of Botswana in the Department of Library and Information Studies in GAPS. Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vusi Tsabedze from the Department of Computer Science from the University of Eswatini. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Makutla Mojapelo from the Department of Information Science at the University of South Africa, in South Africa. Thank you.
I think I'll have to introduce Dr. Forget. She seems to be having challenges with her network. So we have a sixth panelist, Dr. Forget Chaterera. She's an assistant professor, History Department, Sorbonne University in Abu Dhabi. That's the United Arab Emirates. Forget is also an editor of a journal called Archives and Records Journal, and she is a former lecturer at National University of Science and Technology in Zimbabwe. She is with us, though technology seems to be an issue, but she will be joining us along the way. So like I mentioned, I'll be chairing this session, and I want to welcome you all to today's stimulating conversation. So just a quick background to today's discussion. The International Council on Archives developed an African strategy under the Program Committee on Strategic Plan 2018-2020. So their purpose was mainly to focus on capacity building, as well as curriculum review and training of trainers in the area of digital records management and digital records preservation. So towards that end, the ICA managed to fund a study school, which took place in 2019 in Botswana, Gaborone. The training school brought together archival educators from different countries in the entire Africa. And the team that is with us today were part of that group that went through that study school, which took place from 5th to 9th of August 2019. So as we sit to discuss today, I want to promise you that we are going to come together and bring together the knowledge that we were able to acquire on that particular day. So I want at this point to ask that Dr. Forget avails a recording that will help us to understand this whole concept of digital records curation. Thank you. Dr. Tshepho, please take it up.
Thank you, Juliet, for that preamble and for highlighting the origins of the digital curation program. My name is Forget. I will now offer a brief explanation on the concept. You know, with digital curation involves maintaining, preserving, and adding value to digital research data through its life cycle. So the general definition that has been used widely for digital curation is that it's the active involvement of information professionals in the management of information, including the preservation of digital data for future use. The other way of best explaining digital curation is that it's a life cycle approach to managing and preserving usable digital information. So it's all about maintaining and adding value to a trusted board of digital information for both current and future use. In other words, when we talk of digital curation, we are referring to the active management and appraisal of digital information over its entire life cycle. The concept was a result of increased interest in providing long-term preservation and access to research data, specifically in the context of data-intensive science and the emerging problems of data deluge. So initially, digital curation was recognized as a new, umbrella concept that includes digital preservation, data curation, electronic records management, as well as digital asset management. But today, if you look at the digital curation life cycle, you'll appreciate that it includes a whole lot of things and processes that have got anything to do with the long-term preservation of digital data for present and future use. So in essence, digital curation embraces the overall management of digital collections through creating or acquisition, maintenance, preservation, and adding value to research and dissemination of digital collections throughout the life cycle of electronic information resources. Overall, I can sum up the brief explanation of digital curation to say that it's a multidisciplinary field drawing upon the domain knowledge of many disciplines, including archival science, of course, as well as library and computer science. Thank you, and over to you, Juliet.
Thank you, Dr. Forget, for explaining to us the whole concept of digital records curation. And it's evident that digital records curation is a broader concept that embraces the issues of digital preservation, digital archiving. So it brings together all that we as record-keeping professionals are all about. So at this point, I'd like to ask us the question, why then should us as record-keeping professionals in the Nsabika region be concerned about this entire issue of digital records curation? So may I ask Makutla Mojapelo to respond to this question in the interest of time?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, I think it's very much important for records keeping professional in Nsabika region to, take into account this thing called digital records curation. And I want to argue this matter in line with the strategic plan produced by Nsabika, which is our mother body in the region. And their 2018 to 2021 strategic plan, they are raising a number of things that should be taken into account by the records keeping professionals in the region. And one of the things that they are mentioning is the issue of the legislation. They are providing that we need to review our archival legislation in Nsabika region, because as things stand, our archival legislations are very outdated. And one of the reasons why they are outdated is it could be because we don't have the relevant professionals who can ensure that they review all this legislation so that they capture, other important aspects of the digital records curation. And also they are also raising the issue of the capacity building. We are having a lot of challenges in the region with regards to the issue of the management of digital records. And in most cases, you find that the information is missing, the information is not properly managed, the issue of integrity and authenticity is compromised, largely because we don't have enough capacity to ensure that we put into place proper regulations and proper management of digital records. And again, the strategic plan is also raising the issue of electronic records management systems. In most cases, you find that some of the electronic records management systems, they don't take into account other archives and records management regulations. So we need to ensure that we all take all these things into consideration so that whatever the system that we put together, you know, it ensures that the capturing, the management, the preservation and the disposal of records, it's in line with the legislative prescript. But also I want to bring to your attention on the issue that seems to be grabbing the attention of the international community. And I'm referring to the issue of the open data. You know, most of the countries, and including countries in Esabika region, they are, you know, showing some level of commitment with regard to the issue of open data. So many countries, they want to open up their data. I mean, government institutions, they want to open up their data to be available for the entire public. And one thing that can make it very easy for the data to be, you know, made available to the, you know, large population is through the usage of the ICT. And we are simply saying, if we are going to make use of the ICT to open up data for public consumption as part of our, you know, democratic process and public participation, we need to ensure that there is, you know, relevant skills to ensure that these ICTs are used, you know, to the benefit of the profession at large, in order to ensure that we open up data to the entire public. But also, I want to bring to your attention that we've seen a lot of government organizations, you know, implementing digital records management policies. And one thing with that, it means that we need to have people who will back up all these processes. People will ensure that they foster the implementation of all these policies in order to ensure the proper management of digital records. Let me end here, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Makutla, for that elaborate explanation. Of course, we can appreciate the fact that with the current technological dispensation that we are in, and especially with the pandemic that we are all facing, we have to just embrace technology, because a lot of records are now just being created digitally, and we need to move with the times as we manage them. So I see that Dr. Forget has joined us. I don't know if she's able to just say hi to us. Dr. Forget?
Hello, Juliet. Don't know if you can hear me well. I'm currently in a place where connection is very bad. I guess everything is going on well. Oh, great. Right, I'm here. I guess you've already introduced me, and
yes,
that the session is in progress.
You're welcome on board.
Thank
I don't
you
know if
so
you'll
much.
be able to speak at length, or do we continue using your recording?
I think it's safer if you can use the recording, then I'll be here to respond to any questions that the audience might have. Yeah.
That's fine, that's fine.
Thank you.
So at this point, I'd like to say that we had a brief discussion as archival educators concerning the importance and even the need to integrate digital records curation in our curriculum. So I'd like Dr. Forget just to give us a brief explanation on why, as archival educators, we even need to integrate digital records curation into our curriculum. Welcome, Dr. Forget.
Thank you once again. So I and Makutla will now talk about some of the driving factors that make it critical for universities and institutions of higher learning in general to offer digital curation courses in their records and information management programs and related disciplines. So this discussion point is actually directly linked to the previous discourse offered by Makutla again, alongside Tshepho. The one thing I want to highlight in this discussion is that even prior to COVID-19 pandemic that has seen most business operations happening online, several organizations, public and private businesses and governments, they had already gone digital and electronic in providing their services. And this had led to the production of huge digital datasets and information. Of course, the situation has now been magnified and exacerbated by the present COVID-19 global pandemic. Amongst the basic and fundamental reasons for universities to offer digital curation courses or modules is that they need to align with the agenda of a knowledge-based economy that has since been advocated by many governments in Southern Africa. Having said this, I want to mention to you that we discussed this particular point as a group with representatives from Kenya, Botswana, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. And the observation we made was that generally the reasons why universities need to integrate digital curation into their curriculum are basically the same. And I want to believe that the same reasons actually go beyond the region and apply to many other countries across the globe. So what it means is that the education system needs to accordingly change as economies move from being resource-based to knowledge-based. And another obvious but equally important reason is the increased use of ICTs in all government sectors of the countries represented in this panel discussion. That's Botswana, Kenya, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. The reasons are many actually, and they are applicable to many other countries beyond the Southern African region. I will leave the floor to Makutla so that he can take you through the basic and fundamental reasons why digital curation must be offered as a core course or module in our records and information management programs. The floor is yours, Makutla.
Thank you so much. Without necessarily repeating on what Prof. Forget have already indicated, I just wanted to bring to your attention that we need to, appreciate the fact that universities plays a key role in terms of presenting or portraying a specific narrative. And by narrative, I'm referring to the application of the knowledge that is being taught at the universities. So it's very much important for us to incorporate this digital records curation so that we prepare students for the unique needs that the corporate world is demanding currently. And Forget have already mentioned the issue of the COVID-19, which has affected the manner in which we do business. So it's very much important for us to prepare students, to take up the role of the digital records curation in the corporate world. I think with the interest of time, I'm just going to end here and hand over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Makutla, for that, for helping us to understand the need for us to have DRCP. So what is the current state of implementing DRCP in our individual universities? Now that we've gone through the training and appreciated the importance of digital records curation. So do we even need to have it in our in our individual unit. Yes, we need to have them, but where are we in matters implementation? In my country, if I may begin in Kenya, I want to say that we have a number of universities that are offering information science as a course under bachelor's as well as postgraduate. But unfortunately, we do not have programs that are specific in matters digital curation. We have digital curation being taught as a topic under different units, for instance, under digital records management or under digital preservation. So that's where a lecturer just handles it briefly as a topic in that particular unit. So I would say in Kenya, we are still not yet there. We are still quite a bit far in implementation, but the entire program that you went through in Botswana was a big help to me and a big help to my institution, because I was able to give the proposal to my department, to my school, and they've really embraced it. They've really appreciated the need to integrate digital records curation. And we are looking forward to actually implementing this when we do our next review, which is in either a year or two away from now. So at this point, maybe we can also hear the story from Botswana, and we can also hear the story from Swaziland if time will allow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Well, I think the issues that you have already raised in terms of the implementation are quite very similar to what is currently going on in Botswana. And as a country, we currently don't have many tertiary educations that really offer much in terms of library and information studies. Given that, I think maybe I could just use the University of Botswana on as an example on what they have done. So the digital curation is covered, through the courses such as electronic records management, offered both at undergraduate and graduate level. And the courses, cover topics that are related to the need, to redefine the role of the profession in terms of electronic records management. And part of the issues that are raised in these courses include, the characteristics of, these electronic records management, and what are the key issues that need to be addressed in terms of management. The courses also look into the legislative, issues or legislative environment, the practical approaches that are developed in these, spaces, and then the systems that are available in terms of, electronic record keeping, and the challenges that are therefore associated with that. And the courses also go beyond that to look also into, the various electronic document records management systems and the development of SAWA, the statement of user resources. They also go into looking into developing business cases that are relevant within the cadre of digital records processes. And in addition, when you go to the graduate level and the master's level, this course of electronic records management, which we believe it covers significantly a lot of issues that are related to digital records curation. It's also, addition of, discussions on open archival information systems that are there, the digital continuity, change management strategies, and the measure of electronic records readiness in business organization. I would say currently this is the current status when it comes to digital, records creation in the country, basically using the university. And just quickly to add is basically that when indeed the DRCP, workshop that took place in 2019 actually had tried to shake the university to also look into its, structural courses through which we saw quite a significant of changes being made. For instance, a new program of Bachelor of Information and Knowledge Management was introduced, and within this stream, we've got about 3 streams through which the candidates can graduate with at their degrees. We've got the information and knowledge management, cadre. We've got the library and information cadre, and we've also got our own classical archives and records management stream, and these are some of the changes that happened to be I would say the activities that are going on that are very close or related to digital records curation. And beyond that, we've seen quite a number of projects that are going on between the government and the university in forms of tenders, and these project, they've used a lot of the training that have been obtained for the program of DRCP. Thank you, Chair. Maybe let me stop here in the sake of time so that others can have an opportunity to also lay their views. Thank you. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Titi. Vusi, can you shed some light very quickly on the situation in your country, please?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. In the Kingdom of Eswatini, the University of Swaziland trying to respond to the needs of the industry. In 2018, it introduced the BSc in Information Science. Since our government is rolling out e-government and also rolling out EDRMS system, and some of the organization, they are rolling out e-business. So there was a need for the university to introduce BSc Information Science. So through the training that I undertook in Botswana, we are trying our level best to integrate digital curation in our modules. But as for now, currently, we have not yet fully integrated the digital curation in our curriculum yet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vusi. That's very interesting to know, but overall, it's quite obvious that in Africa, we are still at the infant stage. We are still grappling to embrace this whole issue of digital records curation. And I really want to continue appreciating the International Council on Archives for their role in helping us as a continent to just appreciate and kick off in matters digital records curation. So what are the challenges that we are experiencing in our individual countries when it comes to this aspect of implementing digital records curation? At this point, I want to say that definitely the challenges are the same. They're not unique to any African country. They're the same all over Africa. So as a panel, we compiled these challenges, and Dr. Tshepho kindly help us understand what are those challenges we are grappling with in matters implementation.
Thank you, Chair, but the challenges are handled by Dr. Titi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. In terms of the challenges, it is clear from the presentation that made by the previous speakers from different countries that the curriculum from the Esabika universities does not fully embrace the digital curation. There is a lack of concrete integration of digital curation into museum, libraries, archives, and teaching curricula at large. For those institutions that have started embracing digital curation, they, however, are still grappling with the question on what needs to be covered in digital curation. On also another critical challenge observed in the Esabika countries university is lack of knowledgeable, skilled educators or personnel in the field of digital curation. Most of these educators in the universities are still glued in the classic records management principles that praise record from the records life cycle. This shows that there is a shortage of fully trained digital curation personnel who can able to manage and preserve digital records in the industry, since technology, ladies and gentlemen, has placed the task of creation and dissemination of information in the hands of many, but doing so, this has made the task of capturing, preserving information more complex than in any time in our history. Another challenge that we are facing, ladies and gentlemen, is technology. Among other technology advancements comes with both good and bad to our daily life as information professionals. Due to the creation of born digital material, information is being lost as soon as digital assets are produced. Developing countries like Botswana, Swaziland, and Kenya are increasing, finding themselves between a rock and a hard place when facing rapidly changing technologies share the volume of digital curation. Another challenges that we are facing as the Africa countries is lack of resources, such as software, hardware, specifically for digital curation program is a huge challenge is most of our universities, because sometimes we need to facilitate and then student needs to go to the lab so that they can be able taken through to some of the softwares that can assist us in terms of digital curation. Another challenge that we are facing, last challenge that we are facing is administration. One can see that the absence of policies and standards and guidelines in terms of addressing digital curation is still lacking in most of these countries, especially the developing countries. One also will expect that as for us as universities, we need to partner in terms of sharing resources, in terms of handling digital curation. Although we got some material that we're using that we share in Botswana, but I think it's high time even us as universities that we have to share resources when it comes to digital curation. These are the challenges that maybe as for today that we can highlight that we're facing as developing countries. Let me hand over to Madam Chair.
Sorry. Thank you again, Dr. Vusi, for highlighting to us the challenges that we as SABICA are experiencing. But just before challenges, sorry. Sorry about that. Before we move out of the challenges, I feel that it's important for us to allow ourselves to hear the voice of South Africa. And Dr. Makutla Mojapelo, we want to say we are together even as you go through the situation in your nation. Could you just tell us if there are any unique challenges that you're experiencing as a nation when it comes to implementing digital records curation? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think before I can talk about the challenges, I just wanted to provide the status in terms of how far are we as a country with the implementation of the digital records curation. I just wanted to indicate that following the case study, one of the case study from Interpares and also the Africa strategy from the International Council on Archives, we as the University of South Africa, we have managed to review our curriculum in terms of these two documents that I have just mentioned. So we now have a new honors module, and we are the name of the module is BA in Archives and Records Management. So this module, we are offering it 100% online. Given the nature of the module, we decided to make it 100% online. And I think a lot of people are appreciating the fact that we offer the module 100% online, especially when coming to the challenges that we are confronted with in as far as the COVID-19 is concerned. So this module is not interrupted, whether there is COVID or no COVID. The classrooms are going on, the assessments are going on, and we give support to our students. So what we are doing as part of this module, we teach students to manage and the functions and the services related to digital records curation, and we also teach them to implement the information governance according to the set standards. So the module names, we've got archival diplomatic as a standing module, we've got digital data curatorship as a standing module, and then we also have the information governance as a standing module. So the challenge, I can't say we have a lot of challenges because the qualification has just started this year, meaning we had our first intake this year. But now, because you will understand that South Africa is a developing country, so there are a lot of challenges when coming to the infrastructures. Our students sometimes are not able to attend classes because sometimes we may think that online classes can be very cheap, but sometimes it becomes expensive because they will need to have data bundle, they will need to have stable connections, they will need to have reliable gadgets for them to be able to attend our classes, of which sometimes is problematic. But also the issue of load shedding, we've got the challenge with regards to the issue of power failure. Sometimes students are not able to attend classes because there is no power in their areas. So these are some of the challenges that we are coming across, and probably as we move on, we might have more and more challenges. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Makutla, for that. Of course, the issue of resources, the issue of infrastructure is common across the continent. So how do we as a continent plan or even hope to circumvent these challenges that we are undergoing? Or is it even possible for us to get over the bleak scenario that we are in as a continent so that we can be able to implement or successfully implement digital records curation? Tshepho, please take it over.
Thank you, Juliet. I believe my colleagues have eloquently discussed the status of digital curation in our region. As revealed by my fellow panelists in this session, the move towards embracing digital curation in our curricula is still low and slow, except for visible efforts that have been made in South Africa, as Makutla has just said, and in Zimbabwe. There is need for our academic institution, therefore, to incorporate and develop robust digital curation programs that are in line with what the industry needs at the moment. We propose the following: a realignment of the curricula across our universities, where digital curation is a standalone module, as at the University of South Africa, Unlike in some of our universities, Vusi has indicated that in Eswatini, it is not so clear. In Kenya, also they have the same problem. And in Botswana, we have not yet embraced or introduced the digital records curation program as standalone modules. As a standalone module, students will have adequate time to do preparatory activities in time, which may include required readings, viewing audiovisual resources, studying documentations, participating in online tutorials, and using other web-based resources as the program requires. We also propose collaboration and networking. Looking at the challenges as they were outlined by Vusi, look at the challenges that we have in Africa, limited resources and unavailability of the required resources. There is need for LIS students to collaborate and network with stakeholders such as national archival institutions, private organizations, and academic libraries, which may have some of these resources that we need in order to operate a digital or implement DRCPs. So furthermore, we also propose that LIS schools need to engage in exchange programs. Exchange programs may help us here. We also advocate for study visits, international seminars, and workshops. You know, exchange programs within the region and beyond can help us to share ideas and learn from each other. LIS schools are also encouraged to acquire the requisite resources to see to the implementation of a DRCP. This includes the acquisition of the required software, hardware, and the skilled manpower. It's very important to have people who have been trained, who can even train others. The other key issue that needs to be strengthened to ensure a smooth implementation of the digital curation program in our region is the issue of policies and the legislative framework. If the policies and the legislation are weak, it becomes very difficult for you to implement. If the university structure, there is no allowance for you to implement a program like this one, it becomes difficult for you to do it. So relevant policies are necessary to deal with issues of authenticity and reliability of digital records, issues of access and privacy concerns with digital collections, issues of information security and hacks. We also have issues of long-term preservation of digital assets. So in our countries, it has been noted that our legislations are outdated and we need some of these policies to ensure a smooth implementation of programs like DRCP. Although the ICA has started training of trainers in the DRCP in 2019, the process has so far been slowed down by the ongoing pandemic. Here we propose a continuous professional development training program, as these trainers are key to capacitating archival educators with the requisite skills. Archival educators need to be in a position to authoritatively teach their students. Such training will go a long way in creating and increasing awareness of the digital records curation program as a whole. The trained trainers or trained educators should also ensure that they go in their countries and train archivists and records managers in the region through workshops and seminars. Finally, we propose that the SABICA should play an active role in promoting a DRCP agenda in Africa. I don't know if we have time. I had a recording for the situation in Zimbabwe, chairperson, so that maybe I can play it for the benefit of our participants here. With the way forward, that is all from me.
You can go ahead and play it, because I was gonna read something on the chat from Zimbabwe, but okay, you can play the recording. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, so the study school that was held in August 2019 as part of ICA's Africa program occurred at an opportune time when the Records Management Department at the National University of Science and Technology in Zimbabwe was in the process of rebranding its bachelor's degree program in Records and Archives Management, and also reviewing the curriculum to match the many digital advancements that have since engulfed the world across all disciplines, including records and archives management. So during this time, I was still a lecturer in the Department of Records and Archives Management at NAST in Zimbabwe. I'm glad to report to this conference, meeting, discussion that using the content and knowledge I acquired during the training program offered by ICA's Africa program on digital curation, I was able to contribute immensely to the curriculum review and rebranding exercises. The changes that I proposed have since been approved by the Zimbabwe's Council on Higher Education, and owing to those changes, the department has actually changed from records and archives management to information management and technology. By now, the newly approved program should be kicking, but because of the prevailing COVID-19 pandemic that has seen most events and happenings being pushed forward, the program could not kickstart. But it's expected that in the academic year beginning this coming August, the program will commence. And beyond Africa, I am proud and happy to report that in my current employment with Sorbonne University in the Department of History, I used the same content that I gained from the digital curation program to develop a digital curation syllabus from scratch. And right now I'm the one who is teaching that particular course. Yeah, so that's all from me. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dr. Forget. And that sort of wraps up the conversation. We've heard about the challenges that we are grappling with as a continent. And we've also heard about the suggestions on how we need to move from where we are to a higher ground, so to speak. So for that to work, we want to ask that the continued support be granted to us as a continent. As my colleague, Dr. Tshepho, has put it, we need as much support as possible from ICA, from ESABICA, and any other organization that would be willing to support the African continent. So at this point, I want to especially thank all the panelists for the contribution that you've given today. Dr. Tshepho, Dr. Titi from Botswana. I also want to thank Dr. Forget from Zimbabwe, Dr. Vusi from Swaziland, and I want to thank Mr. Makutla Mojapelo from South Africa. Thank you for your contributions. And I want to ask that this conversation should actually go on from here. I've not seen any questions on the chat. I've just seen comments from Nampombe. She's saying, thank you for the informative session. And yes, any questions that may come up after this, kindly drop them. We shall take them up and give you the feedback personally. So thank you, participants, for your time. And at this point, allow me to end the session, and let's continue the discussion offline. Thank you. You can just unmute your video just to say goodbye, please. And Tshepho, please take a photo if you can.
Thank you.
I want to be in there.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.
I'm going to do that. I mean, the connection is bad.
Bye-bye. That's my Kenyan colleague, Mark. Yeah.
Thank you for attending. We recognize you.
Okay, goodbye, guys. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you.
You.